Hey, 4C Divers! It is Tuesday, February 16th, 2021, and we are on Facebook Live. How's it going, everybody? We've got a great presentation lined up for tonight. First of all, let's do a check-in. Let's see how everyone's doing. Everybody say hello in the comments section. Tell us where you're listening in from. Are you here in Florida? Are you in the United States? Are you out of the United States? We want to know. How's everybody doing? Everyone's staying healthy? Everyone's staying happy during these times? I know that if you were watching our Facebook Live earlier, it was me on the dive boat. We went out diving today. The surface was a little bumpy, but under the water was nice. We had a good 40 foot of visibility. And I had this little 10-year-old. She was so cute. She never dove in the ocean, and she only dove in quarries from Louisiana. And she got to see a nurse shark and a turtle and eels. And it was a great dive. So if you guys are interested in getting out there and diving, give us a call. Any of the 4C stores, we can get you booked. If you want a personal dive guide, if you want me as your personal dive guide, go ahead and give us a call. All right. And so let's check in. If you guys are having any questions about tonight's presentation, make sure that you're typing it in the comment section. Also, if you're enjoying tonight's presentation, give us a thumbs up, a smiley face, or a little heart emoji to let us know that you like what you are listening to. Also, we're talking about diving. The rest of you guys, if you're not here in South Florida, we feel for you. There's lots of snow, lots of ice all over the roads. I know some people who couldn't even get out their front door because it was pretty bad, the storms that are going. So we feel for you, but we're enjoying our nice 74, 75 degree weather that we've been having. So if you have a chance, come on down. Let's go diving. Or get on one of our dive travel trips, which we're going to have a presentation tonight. This is Kamala. Say hi to Kamala, everybody. All right. So we're going to let Kamala give a presentation about dive travel with the singledivers.com and 4C. And right before the presentation starts, just a quick reminder, guys, if you did not register for tonight, we are not doing an online raffle. However, you want to get registered because we're going to be sending you an email, and the perks of getting in on online registration is you're going to get a free air fill to 4C. So we're going to get that in the system for you. And also you have an opportunity to join the VIP 4C and Single Divers Dive Travel Program. And we will tell you all about that during that presentation that we have tonight. So without further ado, Kamala, let's go and travel. Let's go diving. Woo! Do it.
First off, she forgot the most important word. Free. You can join the VIP program for free because you are listening to this presentation this evening. So sorry about that, Nicole.
No, that's okay. It's always good to have something for free.
Absolutely. So we're excited to be partnered with 4C. They are the premier dive shop in South Florida times 3, because obviously they have 3 different shops. And they are a wonderful partner. They do really everything exceptionally top shelf, as they say. And so we are thrilled to be their behind the scenes travel partner. And we're going to go into how that works and what that means. But the overview is that basically we're helping them turnkey travel. The worst thing in the world that can happen is you get your hopes set on a trip, you get the time off, you get signed up for it, and then they tell you, wow, we didn't get enough people signing up, so now we can't go. Or you decide that you want to go on a trip, and at some point in time they say, you know what, we don't have a roommate for you, you're going to have to sign up and pay for an expensive single room. It's not, those things happen in travel day in and day out. They're not fun. Being forced to room with somebody that's of the opposite sex that you didn't want to room with by choice, not fun in order to save some money. In order to get all that time off, plan far in advance, and then have the trip cancel at the last minute, not a great way to spend your vacation. So what we guarantee 4C is that every single dive trip that they offer, we guarantee that trip will run. It doesn't matter if there's 2 or 20 on it, the trip will run. We also guarantee a same gender roommate. So if you sign up and you are hoping to avoid that expensive single supplement, then we're going to match you with the same gender roommate, or your single supplement's free. And if you want a private room, then we help negotiate better rates for those private rooms. Sometimes they are limited, but usually the resort will give us as many private rooms as possible because, let's face it, some people, they have the ability to do that. They may not have a dive buddy yet. And so while they're, checking out everything, they're going to want that private room. And then next time around, they'll say, oh, hey, I met so-and-so and I wouldn't mind rooming with them. Anyway, I think the course of tonight's presentation, Nicole is an absolute angel because she's going to help me with the slide presentation so we stay on track. But mostly what we plan to talk about tonight is why you want to be part of the VIP program. Are people traveling? And if they are, how are you navigating the COVID currents out there? And then finally, where in the world has 4C and single divers decided to travel? Is it safe? Is it open for business? And why do we want to go there since we've set up a trip there? Okay, so those are the main things that we're going to focus on. Anything else I left out, Nicole, before getting started?
Nope, you're all good.
All right. All right, so I think we've mostly talked about this particular slide. By now, you guys have probably already read it. The sign-up process for a trip is super easy. Basically, you're going to use a booking system, and that booking system allows you to do every single thing online. If the inventory shows a spot, you don't have to double check to make sure there's a spot. If it's in inventory, you can book it, you can put it in your cart, you can pay for it. You can either just do the deposit or you can do a payment in full. Some trips only offer a payment in full because they were put on short lead time. But if it's an extended trip, then there's always a deposit and then multiple opportunities to do progress payments. We offer a discount for cash. So if you use your checking and do an e-check option where you enter your checking account information just like you would your credit card, then you'll get approximately a 3% discount off of all our pricing. So we show you the cash pricing, we show you the regular pricing, you choose which one you're more comfortable with, okay? We have a very state-of-the-art system. It protects your privacy. We're 100% about security and privacy. Knock on wood, we have never had any kind of a security issue. Our booking program does not retain any information whatsoever in terms that can be stolen. None of your credit card information. There's a couple security features built in so that there's no way that the information can be transmitted to an unsecure site or even to an unsecure part of our website. We'll actually have you log in twice if you're leaving a secured part of the site to go to an unsecured and vice versa. It's just a safety mechanism. We have given you some, when you join the VIP program, you will get a simple step-by-step set of directions on what you do. And probably the most important step is to come up with a fun screen name. So we use pseudonames, stage names, screen names, handles, whatever you want to call them. I am Wreck Wench because I love diving on wrecks, and you will create a fun, unique profile on the site, and that's how people will know you. The rest of your profile information, 80–90% of it always remains private. Pretty much only staff can see it, or any other VIP member would be able to see it just because they're in that special category of membership. So they'd be able to see some of your information, not all of it. So all very, very secure. Go ahead.
So we got a real quick question. Kamala, single divers, is that like we're trying to hook people up, or is that because, we're not a dating service, right?
Yeah, so single in the old days meant you did not have a dive buddy. So if you've ever snowed skied and they want to know who a single is, they're not looking for unmarried people. If you golf and you're a single, you're not necessarily unmarried. If you pay a single supplement or upgrade to a single room, you're not penalizing unmarried people. So in the old days when we set this up, single just meant that you didn't have a dive buddy. So our hookups are to tanks. We are not a dating site, but because of the name, most of our travelers happen to be solo travelers, meaning either they're married and the spouse doesn't dive, or they do happen to be unmarried. We even offer a unique opportunity for couples. I saw on the invite list, registration list, that it looked like we had a couple of couples, and we will have a room that'll have a king size bed in it that we have to fill. We have to put 2 people in it, and because most of our clients are not coupled up, we end up offering a sleep together discount to sell that room. So it's cheaper for couples. They get to get the best room in a hotel or on the dive boat, the live aboard, and they get paid to sleep with each other. So it's kind of a win-win-win. Good question. After you have created that screen name, then you go to the homepage. You're going to find most of it recreated on the 4C website. And basically, it's going to give you a link to 3 major pieces of information. So number 1 is you're going to see a table with a summary of the trips. That table is always changing, unfortunately, even more so now because of COVID. Usually we're just adding trips and taking the ones we've done off. It's a rolling mechanism. But with COVID, we've had to reschedule a number of destinations because parts of the world are still not open or they're not safe. And we won't go. Obviously, we're not going there if they're not open, but if they're not safe, we're not going there either. So the calendar rolls a little bit as things evolve in our world today. And you'll see a little summary. You'll see, a starting point on the pricing. You'll see salient trip details, something that might make that trip a little bit unique. Then you'll see a hot link that says more details. You click on that and it's going to give you exactly what it says. It's going to give you the information on the trip. And then the last column says book now. So if the trip is open for booking and you can sign up 100% automated, then the book now button will be live. If it's a trip that we're either revising because it's had to be rescheduled, or it's a trip that we've got the dates locked in, we have just not finished opening it up for booking, it'll say coming soon. And at that point, what we do is we allow you to put your name on the early notification list. So 2 reasons why that's useful and helpful is because 1, it might be a couple days and that trip is open, might be a couple weeks and the trip is open. Kind of just depends on the trip and when it's scheduled for. COVID seems to have slowed some things down. And as a result, sometimes it takes us a little longer to get these trips open because things are literally evolving on a fairly regular basis. So you have an opportunity to be notified via email that the trip is now open for booking. So that is a perk of the VIP membership if you let us know that you want to be notified. And there's a link that you can do it yourself, or you can always send an email to travel@4C and we can do that for you, put you on that notified list. The third thing that is kind of important about that particular functionality is whenever a trip first opens, we offer some early booking incentives. So it's always great if we haven't opened up a trip, because that means you're still going to qualify for all the early booking incentives. And, who doesn't want to save some extra money for, doing something that they want to do anyway, which is sign up for a dive trip. So this allows you to be first come, first serve. And again, an extra perk for the VIP clients is that we will, at your request, put you on that list, or you have the ability to do it yourself. If it's 3 a.m. in the morning and you're cruising online, you can basically put the request in to be put on the list, and it'll be done automatically, and you don't have to really wait for a human to do it for you the next day. Okay. Any other quick questions that are real germane? So the process again is real simple. We're going to send you some information if you reply at the end of the presentation that you're interested in the VIP membership, which of course is free because of this presentation. And then we'll help you figure out what that screen name is. When you get registered, it is very important that when you create your online profile using this special screen name, that you tell us that you're part of 4C. That way we put you into the special VIP category. Otherwise, we won't know to put you in it, okay? And then that's going to give you certain perks. It eliminates the membership fee. If you just go to singledivers.com and sign up, in order to go on our trips, you need to pay an annual membership fee. With the VIP program, that fee is waived because basically the shop is paying that fee on your behalf. So yay, 4C, right? And then they'll also do some extra things to make sure that you get, early warning of specials and stuff like that. So that's really it. It's this very simple. Once you're signed up, once you're in that membership category, you're free to sign up for any trip online 24/7, put it in your cart, fill out your documents online, and then you'll be welcomed and greeted just like anybody else in the community. Only we will know behind the scenes you belong to the 4C VIP program, but no delays in getting information. As soon as that information is sent out, you get it instantaneously, so you don't have to wait for somebody through 4C to make sure it's sent to you. You get everything real time.
Awesome.
Nicole?
Yeah, I just want to answer a couple of people really quick. So everyone's thinking you just click the link for Eventbrite tonight. Well, no. What we're doing is we're having you register for tonight, and we're going to pull from that registration. We'll email you guys all out and say, hey, do you want to sign up for this VIP now that you've listened to the Facebook Live? And you just give us an email back. Yes, I want to be a VIP member. So that's how you get the deal. All right, everybody. So Kamala, how do you get your favorite 4C staff member on a trip?
My favorite question. So, we hope that you and your favorite 4C members will pick a trip. Now, you can go on any trip you want, all right, because that's the program we've set up with 4C. And every single trip is guaranteed to run as long as one person signs up. So if you're the first one to sign up, do not panic that that trip won't run. You've just guaranteed it's going to run because you're the first one signing up. Usually you're not the first one to sign up, but it can happen, right? So what we hope is that in the shop, we're talking to our favorite 4C staff, and we kind of get a feel as to which trip they want to go on, or they get a feel for which trip you all want to go on. And then if we get enough people to go, then we get to take a 4C member with us. And I know that several of the 4C staff have already been on our trips, and they have raved about how much fun they had on the trip. Their clients have raved about how much fun that they had as clients on the trip. And, at the end of the day, the 4C staff had more time to spend on, the 4C staff had more time to spend on their 4C clients than they would normally, because I was the one that was managing everything with the operators and making sure everything was working seamlessly behind the scenes, and they were 100% focused on the 4C clients. So it's kind of a nice division of labor, so to speak. And so it really, if you ever wanted to go on a trip with one of your favorite 4C staffs, find out which trip they're interested in, or if enough people sign up for a trip, one of them will join you guys, and then they get to be focused 100% on you guys, making sure you're having a good time. And we know they're going to succeed at that. Did I leave anything out, Nicole? All right. So the next thing that we need to talk about is it safe to travel? So the answer is yes. But like anything else, you have to do it intelligently. So obviously, some parts of the world are not open right now for business, and other parts are. But some places are easy to get to. Some places are difficult to get to, and some places, even though they're open, I'm not 100% certain that we want to travel there. So we're being very, very careful about the trips that we're choosing, but we have been traveling. So COVID broke out in, I don't know, I guess basically January/February of last year. We traveled in, we were basically locked down until the summer. We several U.S. destinations last summer. We're offering, right now we have one on the books. We're in the process of putting, for us, South Florida is a destination. So we'll be putting another South Florida destination on, thanks to 4C. And, but we've been traveling. We traveled in August. We traveled in July, August, September, November, December, January. We leave again Saturday for February. March is a little iffy as to whether or not we'll be traveling. And then we'll be traveling again in May, June, July. So far, all those countries, all the trips we have, everything is open and they are safe to travel, and we've been monitoring them. Why don't you field some of the questions that you're getting about COVID rather than mine just trying to anticipate what people want to know? I know COVID is like the number one thing on people's minds right now.
Sure, of course. Okay, so basically, right now the CDC is saying that any international travel, you have to have a COVID test to get back into the US. And so a perk about diving or booking a dive trip with single divers and 4C is?
Beautiful. I think you were Vanna in a former lifetime. Okay. I really do. Okay. Yeah. So testing falls into two categories. So testing one is some countries require a negative COVID test within a certain period of time in order to enter that country. Up until January 26th of this year, we did not need to test to come back to the US, or visitors coming to the US were not required to test. Starting January 26, the requirement was made that you must also test negatively to enter or re-enter the United States. So as Nicole alluded, when that first happened, I was literally in the middle of a trip. And I'm going to tell you right now, the operators that we work with have been just flawless in terms of their execution. And it's another reason why traveling as a group is really beneficial. We've always heard the saying, power in numbers. Well, when we were in Roatan in January, when this first started, rather than all of us trying to go get the test, we had the testers come to our hotel. They tested us first thing in the morning, and then they said, okay, well, you'll have to come back at so-and-so time to get your test results. And we said, no, we really would appreciate it if you would bring those test results back to us because we're packing and we've got a lot of things to do. This is our, our dry day. We've got to get ready for traveling the next day. And they were like, okay, I guess we can do that. So literally, we made them come to us. We made them send the results back to us. And there were individuals in the resort that were booked by themselves. And they just kept looking at us like, how are you getting them to do all that stuff? Because they don't do that. They didn't do that for me. They made me go. They made me set my appointment up. They made me do everything. And then I had to figure it all out. And I've been waiting on pins and needles to know if I'm going to get my test results back. And they're just saying, okay, we'll do whatever you want. So it really is group power. And these countries do need our tourism dollars. So they are willing to work with us. But I'd make no bones about it. If it was only a couple of us, we wouldn't have been able to garner that kind of clout. But with a larger group, and a large group nowadays is 10 people. If you have 10 people, you can pretty much get them to do whatever you want. So our new standard is have them come to the hotel, do our testing, bring our results back, or electronically send our results back. Since we need a piece of paper to show the airport representative, then we ask them to send a paper copy. But if not, I get the hotel to do all the printing for me so that everybody has a piece of paper to hand to the airlines the next day when they go to travel.
And so, Kamala, can you talk a little bit about how Trip Insurance is dealing with COVID during this time? Excellent.
So Trip Insurance has been definitely turned on its head. Okay, when this pandemic broke out, something people didn't anticipate. Now, Floridians totally get this, right? And that is let me back up. Insurance covers storms until they become a named storm. And then once they're a named storm, if you've already bought your insurance, you're covered. So when COVID broke out and became a named virus or a named entity, if you had insurance, you thought, okay, I'm already covered. Everything's good. And in one or two instances, that proved to be true. If you did not buy your insurance after it became a named, virus, so to speak, then you weren't able to even buy Trip Insurance when this first started to cover you. It turned out that a number of major suppliers, including Divers Alert Network, had a clause that said they would not cover pandemics. So the good news was that we had been working rather extensively with a provider called Divassure, and they actually did cover pandemics. So not only did they cover pandemics, not only if you had an insurance policy with them for either a trip or their annual trip insurance policy, but they covered everything. Then fast forward that gap in time where policy started to expire, and now you need to renew your policy, and we're in the middle of summer, and nobody's covering COVID. So I found a small little podunk company that was covering COVID. They did all the statistical analysis, and they said basically, there's not enough people traveling. There's not enough people that are getting it and dying. So statistically, we're in the business of making money. So we're going to offer an insurance policy to cover COVID. If you get COVID, you're covered. If you can't travel because of COVID, you're covered. If you get quarantined in another country, you're covered. So the only thing that they didn't cover basically was they didn't cover you for fear of traveling. Like, I'm afraid to travel. I might get COVID. So that was the only thing they didn't cover. But all the other things they covered was very reasonable. So I went to both major suppliers in the industry, Divers Alert Network and Divassure, and I said, would you guys reconsider covering COVID? And only Divassure came back and said, we think we can do this. And 3 days later, they were then covering COVID. So they started covering COVID again in August, and they are still covering COVID. They are the only supplier other than this little podunk no name policy that's, it may cover COVID, but you don't get enough other coverages to make it worthwhile. So if you're a diver, I cannot strongly recommend enough that you use DiverSure, because they will cover COVID. That means that if you get a false test and you cannot get on the airplane, trip's covered. If you get stuck in a country trying to test to come back to the US, trip's covered. That stay, that 14-day stay, it's covered. There's no issues. So not that we want any of that to happen, and we have some strategies to keep that from happening. For an example, I'm getting very good at getting the testing done. So there's still a window that if you were to get a positive test, we can test you again to find out if that was a false positive, or if we have to do, the deeper testing to find out if, quote unquote, you really have COVID. So we're getting really good at basically making sure nobody's going to get stuck in a foreign country trying to get home. And we're getting really, really good at helping people make sure that they don't have any issues getting their test results back in time to travel in those countries that require the testing up front.
Great. So I have another question about the COVID, traveling during COVID. So, generically answer this, not by individual resorts, because I think you'll probably go there, but in a whole, what are you guys seeing as far as the way that they're doing some guidelines? I know these are different countries than the US. So our people have accessibility to hand sanitizers when they're down there? Are they, cleaning the boats, cleaning the gear properly, eating at the restaurants, staying in the hotels? Are they following some sort of guidelines that hopefully help?
Excellent questions. And here is kind of an overview, like she said, generically how it's being handled with the resorts that we choose to work with. If they don't basically fall into these parameters, then we're not working with them. So parameter one is that they have a number of different cleaning protocols in place. They have social distancing in place. They are, there are, I don't want to use the word mask mandates per se, but they have masking parameters that, that you are requested to adhere to. And therefore, they're not accepting any levels of additional risk than is what is necessary. I have further refined that model personally to choose resorts that have a lot of open air environments. So obviously the boat is open air. The restaurants are open air. There's not confined hallways going to your room. You can access your room from the outside. Or if there's a hallway, there's an open air atrium so that there's lots of airflow. Your chances of running into somebody are really slim. And there's really minimal confined areas where, in essence, germs and stuff like that could be, trapped. Now, almost every country that we travel to has a mask requirement if you leave the hotel premises. Most of the countries are requiring a test to get into the country. So you've tested negative to enter the country. You're at a resort where everybody else has tested negative. Many of the staff test routinely and/or are following all kinds of safety protocols. You're not getting that close to them either. So that exponentially increases the safety mechanisms at the various properties that we're using. They are constantly cleaning, as I said, and they also give us a little bit of literal breathing room. So if we're part of a group, we've all tested negative, If we are in an open air environment and we, let the mask fall down for a few minutes, there won't be someone running around saying, you got to put the mask on, you got to put the mask on, don't let your mask slip. However, if you're an older individual or if you have any underlying conditions and you wish to wear the mask at all times, then obviously we want to strongly encourage that, but we'll also work with other people on the trip to try to honor your needs for your personal safety and balance that with the protocols that are in place that are being effective, and also the fact that if we're in an open air environment and eating, that we're not throw the mask up, take the mask down, take a bite, put the mask back on. That's not to be expected, but that's also not a free for all where everybody is not being respective of some sort of protocols. Any other questions?
Nope. Kamala, let's tell everybody where we're going.
All right. One last thing about COVID, and then we'll just jump into it. You guys, everybody has been sitting back waiting to see, how it works. Okay. And I want to use Mexico as a good example. So they opened up June 1st last year, which was really unheard of. We August, then we returned in September, and then we returned in October, and then we returned in November, and then we went to Roatan, then we went to Roatan again in January, and we're now going back to Cozumel in February. And part of the reason is that they are really seriously taking COVID protocols and measures. I wouldn't say to an nth degree, but pretty darn close. Okay, I mean the standards for cleanliness are pretty much off the charts. They have been welcoming guests now for over 6 months, and every month I get a report from the resort with how many COVID cases that the staff came down with, any COVID outbreaks at the hotel, and they're welcoming guests from all over the world. And the numbers are lower than other places in the country of Mexico. They are lower than even other resorts on the island, and they're even lower than a lot of cities in the United States. So the things they are doing are working. Obviously, healthy people are the ones that are predominantly doing all the traveling, but it is working, it is safe, and only you can make that individual decision for yourself. But we mostly fear the unknown, and this is not unknown anymore. This is becoming much more manageable, much easier to mitigate, and a lot of common sense is paying off for people. And I will tell you that it'll be the 7 best days of normalcy, or as close to normalcy, that you have experienced since this stupid thing broke out. And it is worth every penny just to have 7 luxurious days of fun, laughing, having a good time, remembering why we love scuba diving, and feeling just normal again. So let's jump into now where we're going. And Kamala should find her glasses. So I pretty much have the schedule memorized, which is good. We are, if anybody is really excited and ready to jump on, you can still get a decent airfare on a flight from Miami to Cozumel. And we have a trip going this Saturday through the following Saturday, so the 20th through the 27th. One of the reasons we're picking Cozumel is they are the only country in the world that does not require a negative PCR test to enter. So, but that's one of the reasons that I monitor the breakouts on the island, the breakouts inside the resort, and what their protocols are. And they are statistically not doing any worse than places in the United States, or that are shut down, so to speak, and they're quote unquote open, and they're doing as safe as anybody else is. So we're going there this weekend. There's still room if you wanted to join us at the last minute, and you'd be surprised how many people have decided to, because flights are still cheap, decided to jump the trip last minute. This is an all-inclusive package. So all your meals are covered, your snacks, water, bottled soda, alcohol, you name it. Everything is covered. 2 boat dives a day. Yeah, shore diving opportunities, and the shore diving is exceptionally good. Critters, they don't know there's COVID, so they're out in force. The ocean reefs have really had an opportunity to heal. They're beautiful. You feel like nobody's been in them for 10 years. It's hard to believe it's only been 1 year. That's how much they've recovered. So anyway, since this trip's got such a short lead time on it, I think we'll just jump unless there's any specific questions. And of course, you can always email travel@4c.com with any particular questions about a trip, and we'll answer them. But you'll find almost everything you need under the details tab on the trip page via singledivers.com. Our next trip after February is going to be March. We're still tentatively slated for a land-based Indonesia trip. My gut says that that's going to be canceled. They're still not quite open, and we're not 100% certain that they have all the safety protocols in place. So more than likely our March trip will get rescheduled. That's actually not a bad thing. That particular land-based trip, when we reschedule this, you're going to want to jump on this, because this is culture. This is the best diving in Raja Ampat. These are purpose-driven boats. This is the greenest. This resort wins awards for being super green, and their innovations in terms of the way that they're running the resort. They are trying to be as sustainable as possible. They'll show you the gardens where they have recovered lost land, and now they're gardening and growing some of their own. They grow all their own fresh herbs. They're growing certain parts of their food for the dinner menu that we're going to be able to enjoy, and the food is really excellent. It's South Florida caliber foodie food. So you would want to keep an eye on this particular trip. It's going to be in the 3K range for like 12 days, which is fabulous price point. And hint, hint, this one is one that won't take a lot of people on it, and you'll get your favorite 4C dive staff on this.
Okay, guys, it looks like poor Kamala, she froze. So sorry about that. I just had to let her know that she needed to close out and click the link to get back in. But let's see if she gets this message here. So hold, please. So like she was saying, the Cozumel trip in April, it's April 10th through the 17th. And if you are looking to get on this trip, you can go to our landing page. It's located on the 4C website, and I'm going to put it in the link here. So here it goes. I'm going to send it. Okay. And you can click that link there and you can get some more information on the trip. And we can give you pricing on that site as well. Again, there's always different, like we have a starting price. And then what happens is we can tailor it to what you want. Sometimes there's like rooms that have an ocean view versus maybe a garden view. Maybe you want to have your own room. She's trying to get on and she's saying it's weather related. So I guess everybody in the frozen tundra up north, you're freezing Kamala from the presentation. Anyways, and so the other thing about this trip is you can see that they're going to be booking the resort Casa del Mar and basically using the Marine World Cozumel for the dive. Hold on. Let me get Kamala back here, everybody. There she is. Hold on. And she's back. Woo!
Sorry, guys. I don't know why it froze up. Somebody's got cold weather someplace where the server is. So anyway, so she was talking about our April trip. And I don't know, did you mention the unique feature about the grill and dive part of it?
Nope. I was waiting for you.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So I run into a guy who is a competition pit master who happens to also be a scuba diver. And of course, I was angling for any kind of tips that, he might give a recreational grilling, smoking kind of person, because, who doesn't want to know how to do a better home barbecue, right? And next thing you know, he gets chatting with me. He's a riot. And we decide to put this trip together where he's going to teach people how to grill like a pro. So we're going to show you how to make a homemade smoker for $30 or less. We'll then use that right there. We'll do it right there in Cozumel. We're going to use that smoker to basically educate you on the elements of what a good smoker needs to have and what the trick. We all know that some of the best barbecue in the world is smoked barbecue. And then he's going to show us how to convert your grill that you already have made an investment into, how to convert that to a smoker, what the best pitmasters grilling techniques entail. So we're actually going to grill some fish and smoke. Well, actually, won't grill it, but we'll smoke the fish. Then we're going to make smoked fish dip from it that we'll be able to enjoy. And everyone, whether you're a longtime grill expert or have never turned a grill on, don't know what a smoker is, you'll walk away from this trip with the ability to impress your friends and neighbors and be the hero of the next Super Bowl party or just in time for summer cook-offs. Everybody will be wanting to come to your house and have you do the smoking in the grill.
Oh no, we lost her again. Okay, well, good thing I'm aware of the trips. So hold on, let me tell her that she needs to come back. You cut off, come back. I'm not sure what's going on with her internet, but okay, guys. So let me go ahead and, so as she said, that's got the diving grill feature, which is something she's never done before. So if you want to get in there and learn about grilling and do some diving, this is the trip for you. All right, in May 27th and through June 4th this year, we are going to do Socorro. And basically, if you want to see big animals, this is the trip to go on. This has your mantas. This has your sharks, big bait balls. This is an amazing trip. I haven't been able to do this one yet, but I really want to go on this one. So you guys need to book the trip and tell them you want Nicole with you. We are going to be going on the dive live aboard called the Nautilus Explorer. And that is 5 full days of diving and all meals on the boat are included. So it's, hey, look at, she's back. I jumped ahead to, I jumped ahead, so I just kind of read off the screen here that we have. That we got the liveaboard, the meals are included, the days of diving, and I was about ready to say the experience level and go.
Okay, so one thing about this particular vessel, they have been winning awards for having the best COVID protocols in place of any liveaboard in the world. They have been setting standards and raising the bar for how they're managing COVID. And as a result, other liveaboards are basically following the same patterns. And they give you a little more breathing room. Most countries are requiring that you take the test and get the results back within 72 hours. Fortunately for us, if you're in South Florida, that's a doable turnaround time. But for some places, you can't get that test back. You can't take it and get it back in 72 hours, depending on where you live in the country. Fortunately, Socorro is allowing 96 hours. So they're giving us a greater period of time between taking the test and getting the results back. So that is helping people. And then they'll do a rapid test right before you go on the boat if you request it. It's not mandatory, but it's a complimentary test. So again, state-of-the-art protocols with respect to COVID, safety mechanisms, etc. So this trip is filling up very quickly. It is just a few months away. So space on it if you're interested. What's our next one? That one, okay, yes. So the Red Sea is definitely a bucket list trip for many, many people. I will tell you that this particular trip is a reschedule from last year. So there are only a couple openings on it. But if you're interested and you just got to go, Egypt is open and has been open for a while. Their safety protocols have already been ironed out. We monitor, we've been getting good results with, how they're doing. This particular vessel is a new vessel. It is gorgeous. It is absolutely luxury at sea for not a super luxurious price. The liveaboard part is $18.95. That's the cash price, but a liveaboard that's under $2,000 that is this beautiful is mind-boggling. So there's also, if to go that far, usually people want to do some touring, and we have a Nile cruise option to cruise the Nile for several days if you're interested in that. The boats have all been pared back so that the numbers of people that are allowed have been extremely limited because we are a rescheduled booking. That meant that when we rescheduled last year, we basically sucked up most of the inventory for the cruise. And it's the same thing with all our tours. We have a slated number of spots. And as a result, people trying to join in after that, are being turned away because the spots are already been taken by us. So there's a week-long land tour opportunity. If you really want to have an opportunity to see the pyramids, see the museums, and really go back in time and see ancient Egypt, Luxor, Tutankhamun, we'll see King Tut's grave, we'll see his museum there. It is a loaded itinerary for the tours, and I have done this now 3 or 4 times. So I assure you that this is going to be absolute top shelf, and this is a top shelf vessel. We will be putting this trip, it sold out so quickly the first time, and the few spots that are open are basically a few people that at the last minute now can't go. But we'll be putting this trip back on the calendar for 22. Another reason that you're going to want to be part of the 4C VIP travel program is because then you'll get, first dibs. You'll get an opportunity to get early booking sign up discounts, but also get some of those early coveted spots when we first open up a hot trip like this. After the Red Sea, we are heading to where, Nicole? What's the next slide? North Carolina wreck and shark diving. So for those that are still a little leery of leaving the US, and you get to dive your backyard all the time, so you want to try something a little different, then you'll want to consider North Carolina shark and wreck diving. Now, this is not novice diving, and this is not a newbie dive destination. I will tell you that it's not quite diving boot camp, but it can feel like it for the uninitiated, because this is going to be a couple-hour boat ride out to the sites. So we are leaving early. But if you want the proverbial big boy and big girl wreck diving, and you can't quite afford to get to Truck Lagoon, and you want to get a good shark adrenaline experience without having to have somebody feed the sharks, and you want sharks everywhere, then this is your dive destination, Morehead City. And we've got the premier operator. We have coveted hotel rooms. Most of the hotel rooms are twice as much as the rooms that we have. This is an insider secret because I've been going there for over 20 years, diving the graveyard of the Atlantic. So I definitely have this destination dialed in. If you want to do some more technical diving, this is a venue where we have a little flexibility. So there's just a lot of options here. So this is July. Because of the COVID protocols, this trip actually has not opened up yet. So it has full availability of 18 divers on it, and it will be opening up in the next couple of weeks. So you definitely want to make sure you're signing up for our VIP program so early. What's next on our calendar after, all right, Bonaire. So Bonaire is a classic, famous place that it's iconic. It's a flagship. It's a place that many of us have been to. And so we tried to make Bonaire a little bit differently. Our Bonaire is what I like to call fall off the boat, experience Bonaire, and then get back on the boat instead of lugging your gear back to the truck, or hoping your navigation was spot on and you got back to exactly where the truck was parked at. So no hiking, no hauling. Everything is super easy. Fall off the boat 3 times. Luxurious, beautiful resort, and a wonderful house reef that you can dive on. You can go shallow, deep, and it's unlimited shore diving. It's absolutely a beautiful resort. And the other thing that's really nice about this particular resort, which is Divvy Dive Resort, is if you're into gambling, they have a casino on premises. They have a car rental place on premises. They have a spa on premises. The spa is really good. The sewers are wonderful. And it is walking distance to town. So no expensive taxis. You're not burning through, $6 a gallon fuel, running all over the island. You don't have to worry about who's driving the truck, because you can walk to everything from there. They have a luxurious restaurant in-house. The package is mostly all-inclusive. We leave a couple evenings for you we do a couple evenings where the meals are catered to us special. And then we do open evenings where you're going to be able to go and enjoy some of the foodie destinations in Bonaire, which it is certainly well known for. Now, this is a destination that a little birdie told me a couple of your favorite dive staff would love to go to Bonaire. So this is one that if you decide to go, you got a high probability that your favorite dive staff from 4C will be joining you on it. And it's a great opportunity to knock out some specialties. It's just, if you haven't been to Bonaire, then you definitely need to knock it off your bucket list. It's easy to get to, and it is the world's first marine park. The entire island is a marine park. They were the very first in the world to make that designation of their entire island, their entire country, and then other islands followed suit, but they were the first. And it's just, everybody loves Bonaire. And if you've been there in a while, then it's reviving. It's beautiful. They're just opening up this month in February, so they've been closed most of this time. So I'm expecting the reefs to be just pristine again. So after Bonaire, we're heading to Dominica. Now, after Bonaire and before Dominica. Dominica is in November, and we will be putting a Roatan trip in either September or October. We're still trying to deal with a few reschedules, and once we know how those reschedules flesh out, then we'll fill the rest of the gaps in the calendar. But we basically manage at least one trip a month, if not two. April, we had 2 trips. Some months we have 2 trips, but most trips at least one. So we're going to have a trip in, so Bonaire was August. So we'll have a trip in September and October. We're just not certain whether it will be either Panama. I believe that they have opened up. We're trying to do our due diligence to make sure if we want to reschedule. We had a trip to Panama last year, so we're not certain if we're rescheduling Panama for later this year or if we'll just wait till 22 to reschedule. And then we will put Roatan definitely back on the calendar because they've got great deals. The ocean is practically 100% ours. And the island really could use some help. We broke the code, so we've made getting there really easy. And then we're going to do something in Florida with Nicole's help. We'll be bringing people to our backyard as a destination. So when November rolls around, we have not one, but 2 opportunities to discover darling Dominica. So initially, both weeks we're going to be at Fort Young, which is a previous fort on the island. It was their sole line of defense on the island when it was founded. But over the years, as armies grew, more intelligence and traditional forts became less able to protect the islands, they did something very cool. They took their historic fort and they converted it into an absolutely gorgeous hotel. And this hotel is absolutely gorgeous. It's right on the edge of town, sitting right on the water, as you can see. End up being ocean view rooms. Super nice bonus. Restaurant, open air, eating out over the water. It is just a beautiful place. And then the backside of the resort opens up to go into the little town of Rizzo, and which is one of the main little towns on the island. Dominica is the hidden gem of all of the Caribbean. They have more waterfalls than almost any island in the Caribbean. They have one of only 2 boiling lakes in the world. That's where the volcanic upflow is so hot that it makes the water boil. And so they have one of those. There's only 2 in the world. They have one of them. They have hot springs that are not that hot, that you can actually go and enjoy. You can do the hot mud baths. You can do basically go sit into a hot tub style environment, but have it be a la natural. It's just a beautiful nature island that has some of the most amazing scuba diving, because the tallest building on that island is that fort, and that's it. I used to say they had no commercial development on the island, meaning no Starbucks and no, no McDonald's and none of that. But they finally broke down and got a KFC. So they have one KFC, and then everything else on the island is natural, like it's a homegrown, um, uh, whatever the island offers. Quaint little mom and pop little restaurants, quaint little mom and pop stores. It is adorable. It's basically like going back in time. You will love it. And this is a great trip to bring a non-diving spouse to, because there's a million things for that non-diving spouse to do. So one thing that we may potentially do, this trip is not open for booking yet because we're fine tuning a few details, but we're looking at possibly having 2 different resorts. And if I can make that work out, then you can still do 1 week or 2 weeks, but we'll have the addition of a second resort, so that we can mix it up a little bit. But the diving there is exquisite. It took me a long time to get there because I thought nobody would work this hard to get there, because when I first started going there, you couldn't get there in 1 day unless you were flying from Miami. If you were flying from anywhere else in the United States, it took an overnight. I hope I did not freeze up. Anyway, let me see if I froze up. Nope, it's not Nicole, thank goodness. So it took an overnight to get there. And now there's a number of destinations that can get there in 1 day, which is great. Of course, South Florida is one of those lucky destinations that can get there in a day. But after I got there, I realized, wow, I wish it wouldn't have taken me so long to get here. It's literally my most favorite diving in all of the Caribbean. So we have 2 back-to-back Dominicas, and then in December,
Wait,
well, one of these will roll into December. Go ahead, Nicole.
They wanted to know, a lot of people know that there's the sperm whales in Dominica. Do you know if it's during that season, would people be able to see the sperm whales?
Yes. So Dominica is the home to more whale species than any other place. And there are now 2 whale opportunities that you can experience. Whale opportunity number 1 is what we call a whale watch. And we go out and they literally will use a hydrophone to talk to the whales and call the whales to the boat. So they use the hydrophone using whales from Dominica, letting them talk to each other and draw the whales in so that we can see them on a whale watch. They also have and that whale watch is going in November. It's prime time for that. They do have a diving opportunity with the sperm whales, and it's actually not scuba, it's a snorkeling opportunity with the sperm whales. But I have to admit that right now it's mega expensive, even with COVID. It is in excess of $3,500. It's not even for a full week. It's just because so few people have ever had these opportunities to be in the water with these magic giants, that they have to have a lot of staff there with you, and they have to have an extremely limited number of people. But there is a new snorkeling opportunity, kind of like what they do with the whales down in the Dominican Republic, only not quite as sophisticated yet as the DR. But if you're a fan of Stephen Frink, he has gone and done it. There's a few other that have done it. They just opened it up right before COVID broke out. So very few people have had a chance to do it. The licenses are off the charts expensive. So I'm on a waiting list to get a license. And once I can get that license, if we can get the price to be reasonable, we will literally be setting up a trip around that license. So, but we've had great encounters with the whales from the top of the boat on the whale watches that we do. But obviously, it's always better to go the next step. It's not good enough to look at them on the surface. Some of us are going to want to get in the water with them, and that opportunity does exist. Those licenses are just really hard to get right now and quite expensive. So, any other questions about darling Dominica? Okay. The next trip, now you're going to notice that this trip jumps out to 22. And that's because as scary as it seems, 22 is basically less than a year away now, right? So we now need to start making sure that we get our 22 trips opened up. And some things will reschedule from 21 now to 22. I have a couple Indonesia trips. I had a January and a February liveaboard. Those are going to be rescheduling to either 22 or 23. And then the land-based will schedule to 22 for sure. So we'll probably put the liveaboard in 23. But Galapagos is open right now. We just opened it up. And this is a very, very special itinerary because the traditional luxury Galapagos itinerary takes you out to Darwin and Wolf. You can only get to Darwin and Wolf via liveaboard. And so a lot of people end up going to Galapagos and they think they're going to make it to Darwin and Wolf. And they find out that they're diving the smaller islands that are also the colder islands, and they can get to them by day boat. If you want to see the massive schools of hammerheads, you want to see the massive schools of rays, you want to see the larger than life experience called Galapagos, then you have to go to Darwin and Wolf, and those are only reachable by liveaboard. Not all liveaboards are created equally, okay? So one of the premier liveaboard operators is Explorer Ventures, which is the one that we're using. And part of the reason is because they offer this very unique itinerary. So we're going to get not only all the time with the hammerheads that you're looking for, not only all the time with the rays that we're looking for, but we're going to have the chance to see mola molas, killer whales, and the swimming iguanas. So Galapagos is the only place in the world where the iguanas adapted to swim in the ocean. We certainly know what iguanas are, and most of us would like to throw them into the ocean, but in the Galapagos, they actually swim in the ocean and catch food under the water. So that's how they adapted to survive, and we'll get a chance to dive with them. And only this itinerary, and I believe only this dive operator offers this special itinerary to get the killer whales, the mola molas, as well as the swimming iguanas. So this trip is already open for booking. So if you're interested, please make sure that
Looks like Kamala got frozen again. Oh boy. All right, thanks guys for hanging in there. We are almost done. Let me go ahead and advance in the works what Kamala has. She kind of talked about this. Sorry, I just want to let her know. All right, so in the works, she kind of already talked to you guys about this, but just to let you guys know, we have a Roatan trip that she's trying to schedule for either September or October of this year. I've been talking to her about some South Florida trips in either August or September. So basically, I know some of you guys already live here, but maybe you just haven't really had a chance to dive around South Florida. Maybe when you got certified, you only did, one particular dive area and you haven't explored out. So this might be an opportunity to get some more dive experience under your belt here in South Florida, or obviously if you don't live here and you don't want to travel outside the country, we can get a destination that you feel comfortable booking. She talked about the Panama. We had to reschedule that one, so she's looking to do 2022. And the Raja land-based and liveaboard, are rescheduling those ones as well. So like I said, these are in the works. They're not up on the website yet, but hopefully soon. Guys, like I said, because of COVID, it's a day by day. Things are changing, so you have to just kind of see what's going on and adjust. So, all right. So there's Kamala. All right. Hey, so I just, can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay. I just told them in the works. I just went back down this list. You've already kind of talked about these ones. So, I just want to let you know that's where we left off. And then a quick mention real quick. This isn't a trip that the single divers put together, but 4C, before we started partnering with single divers, Jeff Nelson with a Riviera store, he put together, sorry, Kamala, I'm going to hide you for 1 second so
No
people
problem.
can see this. So Jeff Nelson, he went to Fiji. He loved it. He wanted to go back. So he put together a trip. And so this is just a 4C trip. This is not with single divers, but this is been rescheduled. Everyone was supposed to go in January of this year. And unfortunately, the island has not opened up. We got on the phone last night, Jeff did, and they're looking to hopefully reopen here soon. And so we rescheduled this trip for end of September, October, basically. And there are still people going on the trip, and we do have some extra spots left on that trip if you wanted to get on that. And we can give you more information, or go down to the Riviera store and talk to Jeff. He loves talking about this trip. It's a lot of fun. It's 5 days of 2-tank boat dives. And if one of those you guys want to do the local shark encounter dive, you can do that. And unlimited shore diving from the resort, 3 meals a day, your transportation fees, and from and to the airport in Fiji are included, but not the fees to travel to the Fiji airport. So you got to pay for that yourself. And if you want to get on this, go ahead and give either Jeff a call over at the store, go by and see him, or you can write to info@force-e.com. All right, so that was just a quick mention. Sorry, it's just because it was a trip that was booked before we started doing stuff with single divers. So, all right, so let me go ahead and get Kamala back in, and we can take this away. There she is. Hey, Kamala. All right. So I know that there's going to be lots of other travel opportunities coming soon. Like Kamala said, it's all about the waiting game, seeing what countries are going to open up, what the restrictions are. You know, there's always other things that are going on. The CDC might come up with more rules and stuff. But as of right now, all those trips that she talked about that you can book, we can go to. So if you want to get out of town, get away on a little vacay, feeling good, you want to go diving, let's go. Right, Kamala?
Absolutely. And you don't have to be afraid. Now, I will say there's one other thing that is kind of evolving, and everybody seems to be questioning it. I'm getting it a lot from my own people, and I forgot to mention it sooner. And that is right now, if you have had an opportunity to have the vaccine, you know, obviously there's a lot of restrictions on who can get it, but if you've had it, it is not going to negate.
Oh no. Oh goodness. I don't know what's going on with her internet provider. Oh gosh. So good thing we have cell phones to text back and forth to let her know when she's not on the screen. But I have a feeling what she's trying to say is that right now there is no restriction if you do not have the vaccine versus if you have it. There has been some talks about maybe requiring vaccines to go on airplanes, but again, that's not something that no executive order has been signed. I'm pretty sure right now that's what she was about ready to say. Let's see. I think we're getting her back in. There she is. Hi. Okay. So
the cliffhanger I left you hanging on was, if you'd been vaccinated, unfortunately, at this moment in time and the foreseeable future, the vaccine is not going to negate your need to get tested if a country requires testing to country, and it is not negating the need to test when you try to come back home. So a lot of people thought that if they got the vaccine, they wouldn't have to test, but that's not going to be the case right now. There may reach an eventuality where that happens, but currently that is not one of the benefits of getting the vaccine. So There is some talk about travel passports and all kinds of standardization. We're monitoring that. Truthfully, we're hoping that that doesn't come about. But you know, as things evolve, we're going to be on top of it because unlike a lot of people, we have been going diving. I think if you're a South Floridian, you are 100% mainlining this addiction. It's in your backyard. You want to go, you've just got to go. So if anybody's going to figure out how to go, it's going to be 4C, it's going to be single divers. We're figuring out how to do this, but to do it safely. So come join us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kamala. And thank you, everybody, for listening in. We appreciate you guys taking the time to hear about the travel opportunities that we have. And if you have any questions, you can come into any of the 4C stores and talk to our staff or go on our website and message us. We'll get you guys the information you need to get you on a nice travel trip. So, all right. If you have any other questions, write to us at travel@force-e.com and we will answer your questions. Thank you, Kamala, for a great presentation.
Excellent. Thank you, Nicole.
All right. Have a great evening, everyone.